Come here, goatie. Come here. So this is the newest addition on the farm. Well, not the newest. There's actually a newer litter of pigs that was just born. So we haven't come up with an official name for him, but this is the first time that we have had a single kid born in a litter. This is Lily, it's our female Nigerian dwarf goat, and she was bred with Adam, our Nigerian dwarf buck. This is the only two goats that we have. Last year we sold out of just about everything we had, and we're going to start over with a new line. And so this is a little boy, and he is the absolute hands down most friendly goat and most playful goat that we have ever had. And it's the first time, like I said, that we've had a single. So we've had goats born in 2s, 3s, 4s, and even up to 5. So a little bit about goats. I'm going to talk about a couple things. What we feed them. I'll go through the feed real quick. I'll go through, how we kind of do mothering and what to look for when your new baby goats are born, when your kids are born. You got to look out for them as soon as they're born. Now we're not super crazy about when the goats are born. We don't have cameras on them and come running right out when they're born. It is a good idea to be there when the goats are born. It is a good idea because sometimes they can get stuck in the sack and they can't breathe. Sometimes that has to be cleared. But if you have a good seasoned mother, generally that doesn't happen. The mother will give birth to one. She'll start to clean it up, get it going, get it out, and then she'll give birth to another, and then clean that one up, and then another, however many goats there are. But so generally, you don't, with a good mother, you don't have to be out there when they're born. For us, we've usually had, most of the time we've had goats give birth, we've had lots of them. So we've had maybe 5 mothers giving birth around the same time, and we couldn't be there for all the births. That has resulted in a few stillborns for the younger mothers. The first-time mothers, sometimes they just don't do as well, and we have had some stillborns. We don't know exactly what happened. We don't know if they couldn't breathe, if they got stuck. We don't know what the situation was necessarily. But most of the time we've had very good, healthy births. But a couple things you got to look for. So when the kids are born, the mother, like I said, she'll clean them up. Obviously you want to make sure that let her do that. Don't, unless you see some emergency, you want to step in and deal with that. That's understandable, but you really want the mother to be there and take care of the baby. That's how she's going to learn. You want her to clean up all the, it's gross, they clean up all the afterbirth. You want to let them do that. That's part of how they're designed to give birth. And then once the goat is born, they're going to be pretty weak usually, but they have all the nutrients that they need for the first, they can live for about 24 hours with the nutrients that they have in their body. But you want to make sure that within that first 24 hours that you see them latch on and start to nurse. You want to see them drinking. You want to see that's a healthy... It's all right. I'm going to take good care of him. So you just want to make sure that you see them latch on, you see them drinking, getting that initial colostrum, the initial nutrients that the mother has for her babies. Now, if you have a larger litter, sometimes that can be hard. There could be 3 or 4 babies. There's only 2 teats, and so they have to make sure that all of them are getting there and getting what they need. Some mothers are better than others. Some mothers take a little bit of time. You can keep bringing them back to the mother, and kind of helping them out. Sometimes they won't seem interested. Just keep coming out, a couple times a day, a few times a day on that first day, and bringing them back to the mom and making sure that they're able to drink. As far as the size goes, I'm not going to hurt him. I promise. As far as the size go, this guy's a week old, and he is very large for the dwarf breed. And it's because he was a single. If there was more of them, then he would be a little bit smaller. Sometimes you can get some real little ones and out of a litter. We've had some very, very different variations in size. So one of the things you do have to watch out for in the babies is you want to make sure that they don't get what's called scours. Basically, it's a runny stool, and that will happen, and it will be a really, really light color for the first day or two. It's just their digestive system getting into gear and starting to work and starting to digest the mom's milk. So you have to watch out though. What can happen is with that loose stool can kind of get stuck around the backside of your goats, and it actually gets really hard, and it can cause them to kind of get backed up and clogged up, and that can actually kill them. And so you do want to make sure that you take a warm washcloth or something like that and just wipe their backsides off. If you do see that happening, just make sure that it's all clear. It's kind of a gross thing to deal with, but the moms will generally clean that up. Sometimes it can harden though before the mom can clean it up, and then it's hard for her to get it off. And so you need to get some warm water. I wouldn't do soap or anything like that. Just warm water and just wipe the goat off a little bit, and that'll keep them clear, and they'll be healthy and ready to go. So as long as they're on their feet, they're walking around, and they're able to latch on to mom, and their backsides are clear, that's really the major issues that we usually see. If for some reason, very, very last resort, and we've never, I shouldn't say we've never, we've only had to do this with a dying baby goat, the one that was sick. But bottle feeding, a lot of people like to do this because they feel like it gives them a relationship with the goat, and it makes them friendly. I kind of disagree with that. Bottle feeding is a last resort. That's not how God has created these animals. That's not the nutrients that they, it's a synthetic copy of what they should be getting, and it's not ideal. Even if you're milking the goat and then feeding the goat, from the bottle, the goat's milk, it's still not ideal. I know a lot of people like to do this to make the goats more friendly, and things like that. These goats are meant to nurse off their mothers, and it's good for the mothers to learn that process and get used to that. It's good for the kids to get used to that process, and so I would highly discourage bottle feeding these goats unless it's sick. You notice that they haven't latched on. It's been more than a day, and you haven't seen them latch on. Then you really need to start to worry about that. But you don't want to. Bottle feeding is a last resort. That's not recommended for almost in any case, in my opinion. They love to play. This is a healthy week-old goat. He's jumping around. You'll see him climbing on mom. You'll see him, headbutting each other. You'll see them. This is the social behavior that they do with each other, and so that's why you see me doing that. It's not teaching them bad behavior or anything like that. They love to push and play with their heads. That's how they're made. This is how the brothers and sisters will come, and they'll rise up on each other, and they'll headbutt, and they let off. They don't hurt each other. That's just how they get along with each other. So another mistake that we have made, and that I think a lot of goat owners can make, is how you feed the moms. So a lot of times, we have these goats out in pasture. They're on pasture in the summertime or early spring. They've got access to grass and weeds and leaves and all that kind of stuff. And what we've made the mistake of doing is, okay, they're about to give birth. We can tell they're getting ready. We're counting out the months from when they were, for their gestation period and all that kind of stuff. And we're saying, all right, they're going to be ready. So then what we do is we move them into a mothering area like this. This is just a small area with some shelter on the side of the barn that we fenced off. It's got some grass and stuff in it. But then a lot of times we've made the mistake of, well, we want to make sure they've got enough, mineral. We want to make sure they've got enough feed. So we'll start giving them a bunch of sweet feed. So a goat's digestive system is actually kind of complicated, and you don't want to shock it with any change in diet, any quick change in diet. So what I have here is a mixed sweet feed. It's got a goat pellet in it, which is a pelletized, various grains and things. There's some cracked corn in here. There's some oats in here. And then this is usually covered in or mixed in with some kind of molasses. And so this is just a goat feed that you would get at any farm store. It's off the shelf. It's not an organic goat feed or anything like that. You can get organic versions of this, of course. But this is what we feed the mothers, but we do this, we introduce this to them very slowly when they come off of pasture. So we give them a little bit, then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. It's good to catch them a week or two before they give birth, so you can get them kind of adjusted. You do want to get some higher protein in their diet, and you do want to give them some grains while they're getting ready to give birth, and then for the first month after they give birth. Their bodies are producing a lot of milk. They're feeding many mouths, and you want to make sure they've got enough food. So hay alone is really, you can do a purely grass or hay or pasture diet when they're giving birth, but because we like to pull them off the pasture, keep an eye on them, keep them safe for the first month or so, I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend supplementing them with some kind of goat food. So just be careful when you're feeding the goats. If you do end up making that mistake, or if you have made that mistake and you see the goats getting bloated, there's some remedies online. We have done like vegetable oils and other things like that. You can kind of get them to eat that. That oil helps to release the gas that can build up in their stomach or stomachs, and that helps to relieve them of that. But mainly just slowly adjusting their diet. So if that's already happened, lay off on the grains a little bit, make sure they've got enough access to hay or pasture, and then just give them little bits of grain each day so that they can kind of slowly get through that and adjust to that diet. So the real question is, what are we going to name this goat? We are going to let you guys decide. We are going to have a few names picked out, so you have to watch your YouTube notifications. I will put a survey out to all of you guys who subscribe to the channel. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe, and make sure that you hit the bell icon and turn on your notifications for YouTube for all things. I'll put a survey out on through the YouTube system here in the next week or so with some goat ideas, some goat name ideas, and you guys can choose the best name. So this should be a lot of fun. We'll see what you guys choose. This was done before for, I think it was a research submarine, and they asked the internet what they wanted to name the research submarine, and they ended up naming it Bodie McBoatface. And so we laughingly, knowing that we were going to do this, we've laughingly been calling this goat Goaty McGoatface. So maybe that'll be one of the choices. Goaty for short. I don't know. It seems like a cool idea to me. If you're thinking about bottle feeding, to make your goat friendly, what I would suggest instead of bottle feeding is just to spend time out in the yard with your baby goats. They will get very used to you. They will play with you. Give them things to jump around on. Let them be playful. Let them feel comfortable around you, and they'll be totally fine. They most all of our goats have been friendly when we're there right after birth, and the kids will spend time with them. We come out here, not every day, but every couple days we'll come out and just pet them, play with them. I mean, you can see this guy would follow me right up to the house and probably jump in our bed and sleep it. They're very friendly, and bottle feeding is not necessary. So hopefully that helps you guys out. If you're looking to breed goats, or you have some babies on the way, or maybe you're first time just looking into this whole thing, or want some tips on how the birth will go, hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit. But goats are a lot of fun, easy to breed, easy to raise animals, and they actually bring in a good amount of income as far as kind of a side deal here. These guys, a good goat, the pretty ones, with the blue eyes and that kind of stuff, they'll sell for $150, $200, and we've had pretty good luck with that. So don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to keep an eye out for that survey. Get your vote in there, what you think we should name this little guy. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video, and as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.